Am I wearing any pants? Nah. Yo, what is up, guys? You sexy ass motherfuckers. Welcome back to yet another Rome 2 Total War battle. Today we got a little bit of a shorter one, which kind of surprises me a little bit. It was 31 minutes and 40 seconds long. So you know that this battle isn't going to last until the enemy reaching the victory point. This is going to be a battle of kills. How quickly either the enemy or we can kill the enemy as possible. It's a very, very interesting battle. Definitely a lot different than any other battle that I've seen before. With some really cool plays on all sides. So make sure you guys sit back, relax, grab your drinks, grab your food. Make sure you jerk off quick one before the battle or during the battle. You know, I'm here to help with my voice. Call your grandmother and let her know that you love her, preferably not while you're jerking off a quick one. I don't know if she'd appreciate that too much. Do whatever you guys have to do, and let's start this battle. So yeah, so in this battle I'm going to be playing as the defenders. It's going to be me playing as, why can't I, Nervii? It's going to be me playing as Nervii, and then my allies playing as both the Seleucids and the Spartans, and then we're going to be fighting against the enemy Seleucids, the Roman Empire with their beautiful legionaries. God, I love Rome. If Rome had a purple color scheme like in Rome 1 with the Senate, that would be beautiful. Absolutely would love that. And with Carthage. So we do have some very, very powerful factions inside of this battle. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a fun battle. And I'm quite excited to be able to bring this to you. But yeah. So Carthage, kind of bringing your typical Carthaginian army. You've got your noble fighters, your Italian swordsmen, your Gallic warriors, and then your Libyan infantry, as well as more Libyan infantry in the back, and I'm fairly certain that they have archers kind of hidden in the background, and that's just me trying to use my artillery to get some kills on these Praetorian Guard. Rome bringing 2 units of Praetorian Guard, multiple units of legionaries and armored legionaries, and then I believe that did Rome bring archers, or did Rome not bring archers? I'm fairly certain that Rome brought archers, those auxiliary Syrian archers, and of course Rome having the legatus generals, bodyguard, and some vigiles, just some weaker units to be able to help push up the towers as well. With the Seleucids, I'm going to put it on slow motion here because it does start pretty quickly. They're going to bring a decent amount of Eastern spears, thorax swordsmen. I thought he brought some other spearman unit. Okay, so it looks like he's just going to be primarily bringing Eastern spears, thorax swords, and Syrian heavy archers, as well as 2 units of Persian light archers. Me playing as Nervii, I do have a guerrilla deploy force outside of the actual city walls. I've got 4 units of guerrilla swords. I've got 4 units of Gallic hunters, some Celtic warriors, and then I had some more fierce swords, and then some spears, some levy freemen. The Seleucids bringing in some Persian hoplites, some hillmen, silver shield swords, thorax swordsmen, just kind of your typical Seleucid army. And then the great Spartans, the absolutely beautiful faction of Sparta, bringing in a Greek scorpion, helot archers, a decent amount of Spartan hoplites. I think he's got some heroes of Sparta. Yeah, heroes of Sparta and royal Spartans. And of course I do have an Oathsworn general, and I do believe I have another unit of Oathsworn somewhere. And I do have a couple of units of Mighty Horse as well to help with my sally out. But yeah, guys, again, should be a very, very interesting battle. We got the Seleucids, the Romans, and the Carthaginians all pushing up at the same time, which is always a beautiful sight to see as the attackers. You always want to make sure that you push up at the same time. Or if you're going to have somebody attack a little bit later, then, you know, you just want to make sure that you communicate that with your allies. But it looks like the Romans, I don't know, this is going to be a tough one. I don't know if the Romans are going to be the first ones to hit the wall or the Seleucids. I guess the Carthaginians could be, but it looks like Rome has like a slight, maybe an inch on the actual tortoises. So I feel like the Roman Empire might hit the walls here first before the Seleucids. The Seleucids, I was streaming this at the time, so I'm not sure if the Seleucids were stream sniping or maybe they were just coming to check the woods for any sort of ambush tactics. But the Seleucids did move up a unit of thorax swords into the woods in anticipation of some sort of sally out attack, just to make sure that there was no units inside of the woods. But yeah, the Seleucids are approaching the walls with their thorax swordsmen and eastern spears, just starting to bash down the walls and getting ready for their initial attack. The Roman Empire also sending in their legionaries, vigiles, and yeah, it looks like it's just legionaries and vigiles. They brought a lot of legionaries. It seems like these armies kind of brought a lot more elite troops in favor of bringing a more elite army instead of bringing a more full army, which surprised me because these living infantry are slightly more expensive than thorax swords. They're good. They do, I mean, with that slight expense, they do kind of show it on the battlefield because on a one-on-one, living infantry should win against thorax swordsmen. But yeah, it seems like they definitely spent more money on their living infantry. Sparta did. This was also a naval battle, so Sparta did bring some troops to sally out outside in the open waters, but nobody else kind of brought any ships or anything, so Sparta's just going to kind of bring the troops in and either decide to fall them back inside of the city itself. Ooh, sorry guys, damn, it's getting a little bit late, my bad. But either fall back inside of the city themselves or maybe even try and get some kills on these Carthaginians before they actually get inside of the walls. But it looks like the Roman Empire has successfully broken down the walls, as well as the Seleucids. Seleucids charging in first with their thorax swords and eastern spears. My Celtic warriors kind of being the first ones to hold the line against these thorax swordsmen. And so seeing that they kind of decided to not kind of attack this place too heavily, I'm going to go ahead and try to get both of my mighty horse in position to be able to sally out. And soon I'm going to be able to try to charge these 4 units of guerrilla swords through the forest, just try to keep them as hidden as possible, and try and see if we can get these Syrian heavy archers with my cavalry. But yeah, the Seleucids really moving in their thorax swords heavily inside of the actual city. He's going to go ahead and use one of his thorax swordsmen to capture this tower. Very smart move, just to make sure that it doesn't shoot at the back of their infantry while they're engaging with my Celtic warriors. I do have 2 units of Gallic hunters up on the hill, firing into the flanks and the tops of these thorax swords, helping out my Celtics, so they should be able to, if not win, weaken this more expensive unit of thorax swords enough so that way the unit behind, the unit of hillmen behind them, or the unit of Celtic swords behind that one can successfully take out these thorax swordsmen. Over here I do have my Celtic warriors engaging with these thorax swords, and I have my other archer unit firing into the back of these thorax swords just to try to take them out of the battlefield as quickly as possible. But Seleucid, seeing that, is going to quickly try and get another unit of thorax swords and potentially utilize this gap right here and get behind my unit. Seeing that, I am going to go ahead and move my Celtic swords over to that gap just to make sure that they can't flank me and get a nice flanking strike on my Celtic warriors over here. That unit of thorax swords got absolutely melted by archer fire. It was absolutely beautiful. But yeah, I'm going to charge my Celtic warriors outside of the wall because he doesn't have any troops nearby to be able to support, so that way I can get that flanking charge with this unit of Celtic warriors and steal that flanking fire with my archers. I am beginning to move up my guerrilla swordsmen through the woods to be able to try and engage with this thorax swords and maybe potentially these archers, just distract the enemy as long as possible so I can keep singling out his thorax swords inside of the walls and dealing as much damage as possible. And then Sparta using his cheap Spartan use to be able to hold back these thorax swords, so that way they can't get any flanking charges against his other unit of Spartan use. And then the Seleucids having both a unit of hillmen and a unit of thorax swords on the rear just to reinforce these Spartan use if necessary, which looks like they might need reinforcements here soon because they are just getting absolutely pelted by both the towers and thorax sword javelins. The enemy has moved up their archers to be able to fire over the walls into our units, seeing that the thorax swordsmen were losing because they're just trying to be able to push against our forces as quickly as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and move. I had a unit of Celtic warriors kind of move through this gap here. Oh, I'm sorry. I had that unit of Celtic warriors that was engaging the side of the city because he hadn't sent any reinforcements. I charged them over here and through the gaps, so that way I could get a flank and hopefully quickly break these thorax swords, which I did. Over here, my sally out against the thorax swordsmen I am actually going to go ahead and take this opportunity to sally out because he has engaged most of his units inside of the walls. So I'm moving my guerrilla swords to engage with both these pikemen and this unit of thorax swords and my mighty horse to be able to try and do as much damage to these archers as possible because they're pretty exposed. The only thing protecting them is a unit of thorax swords, which of course the javelins can do some heavy damage. Oh, which they did. But I'll still be able to charge past and get some nice hits on these Persian light archers and these Syrian heavy archers. So I'm just going to keep chasing them away so that way they can't do any more damage against my troops. And as you can see, I'm just using whatever forces I can to, get some flanks on these thorax swords and just break them as quickly as possible. My Celtic swords are going to break here pretty quickly because they're very, very low on troops, but that's okay. They did their job. They got a flank and was able to successfully take out the unit engaging with my Celtic swords over here and engaging with my Celtic swords over here. With the Seleucids and the Spartans, they are successfully holding against the initial waves of Carthage and Rome over on this side. They're doing very, very well, holding these stairs and just peppering them with whatever they can. I'm not quite sure where Sparta's Scorpion went. I honestly didn't realize that Sparta had a Scorpion during this entire battle. So I'm just trying to figure out where he put that, and it looks like he did send out one of his units of hoplites to engage with the enemy and kind of stall them a little bit so that way he could make sure that they weren't charging through, sorry guys, charging through these walls and being able to get those flanks on them. But he also has those Royal Spartans and Heroes of Sparta in the flank, so those enemies aren't going to break through there anytime soon. Coming back over here to my sally out, my mighty horse was able to successfully catch one of the unit of Syrian heavy archers off guard. And break them, or at least waver them, and do some pretty nice damage against these Persian light archers. I was actually able to shatter the other unit of Persian light archers over here, and so I'm just doing whatever I can to keep these cav going, keep this cav unit moving to be able to do as much damage to these archers as possible. Over here, I have engaged with the enemy thorax swords and the royal peltis, as well as these pikemen. These pikemen kind of were out of position, so I used two of my guerrilla swordsmen to surround the pikemen and just quickly destroy them. And with my other unit of mighty horse, I'm doing whatever I can to try to get rid of these royal peltis, because this is the Seleucid general, so if I can break this general and get him off the battlefield, then it'll be very, very easy for the rest of my troops to be able to take out whatever remains of the Seleucids. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and retreat my mighty horse because he is turning his general away from me. He is getting a little bit of a sandwich on my guerrilla swords, but I do have multiple units of guerrilla swords that are now free to engage with the enemy and get some more flanking charges against both these thorax swords and this general unit of royal peltis. I am going to circle around another unit of guerrilla swordsmen and get another unit of Celtic warriors outside of the walls, so that way we can successfully surround these pikemen and really just do some really, really nice damage. I was afraid that he was going to quickly set up his pikemen so that way they would face this way, kind of what they're doing, and protect the flanks of their general. So I wanted to quickly charge in and just do a ton of damage. Oh, man, they just they got wrecked right there. Man, that charge just absolutely demolished them. Yeah, I just wanted to charge into this unit of pikemen and do as much damage as I could before they were able to form up. But yeah, no, this sally out is going absolutely beautifully. These thorax swordsmen are breaking. This general is taking heavy losses, and we've already taken out one unit of pikemen. And I'm going to go ahead and sally out a bunch more units because I'm perfectly free over in this corner. I had a bunch of units over here ready to defend, but since the enemy didn't bring enough troops to be able to continuously attack the walls, I'm going to be able to sally out a decent chunk of troops to be able to come out and clean up the rest of these enemy units. Moving back over to this corner, Seleucid isn't giving up. He's going to be able to use the remnants of his thorax swords and his forces that are inside of the wall to help support his allies, which is exactly what he needs to do. Continue to engage with my allies' thorax swords and my depleted Celtic warriors, and just keep on putting pressure on us to make sure that we can't. That way, he can make sure that both the Seleucid forces over on my side and my forces can't come and reinforce this kind of half-circular piece over here. Rome doing a really good job of just kind of using his weaker troops to distract this corner, while Carthage just doing whatever he can to be able to push past these Persian hoplites and start engaging with the Persian hoplites on the staircase. He's trying to get through this little thin line here so that way he can come and engage with the backs of these thorax swords and just kind of take him out a lot quicker. So beautiful moves by the enemy. Sparta still successfully, of course, Sparta doing what they're great at. Oh my lord, a unit of 147 Spartan hoplites left. Has 116 kills. Wow, Sparta doing more than what they're good at. They're great at holding, but they're really, really doing some good work against these enemy forces and getting a decent amount of kills while they're holding. So beautiful job by Sparta. Sparta moving up a unit of pikemen to be able to hold this gap since the enemy has no archer support over here. So the enemy seeing that they do have pikes over here are going to go and retreat and help support the main lines with the Roman Empire. Moving out over to the Sally, we did successfully take out the general and that unit of thorax swords. So I'm going to be able to use the rest of these forces over here to circle around the enemy and kind of almost besiege my own walls. My idea here was to use whatever forces I had left within the actual city walls to help my allies defend this kind of corner section right here. Whereas I use about half of my army or whatever I had left outside of the city walls to kind of circle around and put pressure on the enemy's flanks, so that way we could really put some pressure on engaging with the enemy forces in the front line and just doing as much damage as possible. Even with those losses, even with that sally out, Seleucids aren't giving up, and I got to give credit to the Seleucid player. They are doing a fantastic job at really just staying in the battlefield and doing as much damage as possible, just continuously putting pressure on our lines. But since he did kind of leave this space open, he didn't really have any troops to kind of guard this space. I am going to go ahead and charge a couple of units over here to try and do what I can to break whatever units that are engaged with the front line. And because of the loss of his general, because of the fact that his men are fighting in a foreign land that they truly don't really care too much about, they're gonna break here pretty quickly because of the fact because they're getting just absolutely peppered by archer fire. They're getting flanked by, just pajama wearing shirtless men with giant shields and swords. I would run too, honestly. If my general had broken and I had to deal with all of this crap, I probably would have just said fuck it and left as soon as possible. But still, the rest of the Seleucid force is doing a fantastic job of holding me back and making it so I can't engage with the enemy forces in the flank. My troops have successfully kind of gotten to this flank. I was using a cavalry unit to be able to... did I haven't done it yet? Yes. Okay. I was just making sure. So I was using I did move a cavalry unit into the city to do whatever I can to try just to take out. I was trying so hard to take out the rest of the enemy archers, but they are sick of my cavalry, so they're just going to keep running behind as many units as possible to make sure that I cannot kill them. They are just absolutely sick of my shit. They are done with my cavalry, so seeing that they're pretty well protected, I'm going to charge my cavalry, my depleted cavalry into the general and hopefully get a general kill. But as you'll see in the future, yeah, these mighty horse are getting absolutely melted by this Roman general. Even though they got the charge bonus off, it really surprised me. But they're getting absolutely destroyed by this general, so they're not going to be able to get that general kill that I was looking for. But I am engaging with the enemy flanks. I have successfully moved through the breach points that the enemy had made, and I'm basically just besieging my own walls. I'm doing whatever I can to be able to get some flanking charges against the enemy and just do whatever damage I can, breaking through enemy forces, flanking enemy forces that were engaged with the front line over here, while just doing what I can to distract the other enemy forces and keep them from flanking my units that are outflanking the enemy, and just doing whatever I can to be able to break this last unit of thorax swords as well. At this point, the enemy Seleucids are all pretty much out of the battle. They still have their units of archers, so they can still do some really good damage with that. But as far as infantry, they really just had a tough time during this battle with that sally out. They're trying to engage such a large wall with such little forces. It was a tough one for them. But like again, many props to the enemy player for staying in the battle and just doing whatever he could to be able to support the enemy, support his allies against us, the enemy. Just props. I honestly, I don't know if I would have rage quit, but I definitely would have been very pissed by that point. But none of these players trash talk. There was no issues with that. It was a fair game. It was a fun game. So just props to all the enemies that were involved in this battle. Moving back over to the Roman side, he did kind of send one of his units through like a gap over here and go into this little corner, so that way I couldn't flank him anymore. And he is able to start breaking my units because they are just Celtic warriors. They're a very, very cheap barbarian unit. So I'm going to go ahead and retreat from here and just try to kind of reform my lines. because there's no way that I'm going to be able to take out this Praetorian Guard. 156 men left active and have already gotten 72 kills. The Roman Empire is a very, very powerful force. And yeah, no, it's very well done. Just doing whatever I can to get those charge bonuses against these Praetorian Guard. And really just kind of get any flanking bonuses or anything that I can on these Praetorian Guard. Moving over to the other side, Sparta's still holding this line with a unit of Heroes of Sparta. What? What happened here? I saw that unit of Spartans right there, and I'm just like, wait, what's going on? Anyways, the unit Sparta sending up his Heroes of Sparta to be able to hold against this just absolute swath of enemy forces coming in. We still got a decent amount of forces holding these stairs, but we are starting to thin out here a little bit. I'm losing a lot of troops here. I still have my archers, and I've still got some melee infantry units, but I am losing a lot of forces here. That initial attack against Seleucid definitely wasn't easy by any means. The Seleucids definitely did a nice amount of damage against me. Over here, I did send over my Sworn General just to be able to kind of use my abilities on these Spartan hoplites, just to make sure that they stay fresh and ready to be able to keep fighting the Roman Empire. But yeah, no, Sparta's doing a fantastic job, both holding these walls and these streets with his Royal Spartans. Are those 2 units? Okay, for a second I thought he had 2 units of Royal Spartans. I was like, yeah, there's no way Rome's getting past there anytime soon. But no, it's a unit of Royal Spartans and a unit of Spartan hoplites with 148 kills, which for a hoplite unit, that's very, very good. Hoplite units are very good at holding like choke points as long as they don't get flanked or surrounded. But they're not necessarily the best units for, you know, getting kills. But the fact that they're able to get an actual decent amount of kills for a hoplite, like 150 kills is even good for like normal units. And the fact that a hoplite got it was absolutely beautiful. So well done to the Spartan player, really utilizing his hoplites to the best of his ability. I am using my archers over here to try to get some flanking fire on the enemy while they're pushing up. Just the enemy archers, enemy infantry, whatever I can shoot at. Plus these Praetorian Guard, because these Praetorian Guard are going to be a hassle to deal with. Them and their purple cloaks. You know, I know they're my enemies, but I gotta, you know, envy them. Those purple cloaks are just beautiful. Oh my lord, they look so good. So yeah, they're going to do a really, really good job of just absolutely massacring our troops because they're a very powerful unit. They are the best of the Roman Empire. And when you're the best of the best of the best of the best, like, you know you're going to kick some ass. It's beautiful. But yeah, so the enemy is going to go ahead and successfully push over to the staircase. We do have a unit of pikemen kind of helping to hold, and a unit of Heroes of Sparta helping to hold the staircase. But this pikeman is going to go ahead and take a lot of archer fire because it is out in the open, so he just has to be careful about that. I do have a unit of Fierce Swords close by, but they're basically naked warriors. The only thing that they're wearing is pajama pants. So, and I guess a helmet, you know, the helmet might protect them from the archer fire a little bit, but not nearly as much as a full, you know, set of armor would. So they're getting peppered by archer fire, so I'm going to go ahead and fall them back here soon, because they don't need to be that close to the front line. Moving back over to this side, this unit of Spartan hoplites and Royal Spartans are still holding. I mean, Royal Spartans I'm not surprised about, because they're Royal Spartans. This unit of Spartan hoplites has 237 kills. Wow, how? That's nice. GG, Sparta. GG's. Like, wow, well done. I don't even know what to say. That's awesome. And now we've got Royal Spartans kind of cycling out here. Just kind of trying to get some rest up, so some fresh Royal Spartans moving up to the front line to be able to just continue to engage with these armored legionaries and Libyan mercenary noble fighters and armored legionaries together. That's a force to be reckoned with. Noble fighters are such a powerful unit, and armored legionaries are nothing to be messed with. They can definitely pack a punch in their own right. I mean, just look at that armor. Oh. The Roman Empire is just such a beautiful faction. I just wish they weren't so kind of like cheesy inside of this game, or else I'd love to be able to play them more. Moving on over kind of this flank here, we are pushing back. Just kind of trying to retake this corner here, using my archers to get some flanking fire on these armored legionaries, just getting a ton of kills with those archers, as well as this with the support of the Seleucids, just being able to kind of keep pushing back over here. A unit of Praetorian Guards that they upgraded. They upgraded this unit of Praetorian Guard to have 3 gold chevrons. This is on large funds, guys. So he sacrificed multiple units to be able to get these Praetorian Guards. So they're going to be very, very hard to deal with. Wow, I didn't even realize that they had 3 gold chevrons. That's crazy. Dang, okay. Moving on, moving away from that side. Wow. Coming back over here, my guerrilla swords doing what they can to hold back the enemy, but they just seem to have an endless wave of these armored legionaries. It's just like every time we kill 1, 2 more take its place. It's like Hydra. So again, I'm going to do whatever I can to be able to get that flanking fire on these armored legionaries and take out as many as possible, but they're definitely going to be able to get through our units and just get to these flanks. But we do have some, more cheaper units, depleted cheaper units in the background to hold them back. So again, we're just going to try to do as much damage against these enemy forces as we possibly can. Moving back over to the center, the enemy's just kind of utilizing their mercenary Cretan archers to the best of their abilities, and their unit of mercenary Balearic slingers, which is a really good unit too. These mercenary Balearic slingers, every time I see them on the battlefield, they get tons of kills. Which I'm not great with slinger units. I'm definitely a lot better with archers because they have that overarching fire rate. But with Balearic slingers, like if you have that direct shot, they can definitely do a lot of damage. Moving back over to the center point, we are starting to get pushed back. We've got an enemy unit of Praetorian Guard with 246 kills, and still with more than half of their unit. Oh, yeah, that's going to be very, very dangerous. And then I did end up sending up a unit of Fierce Swords to be able to do whatever they can to hold that front line. But yeah, a unit of Libyan Infantry and a unit of Praetorian Guard. The only thing that we can really do at this point is just kind of try to do what we can to hold them back. Those are some very powerful units that we have to be careful with. I did move some of my archers back over this way, so that way I can kind of start focusing down the weaker units of the enemy archers, because they're doing a lot of damage against us. So we just want to do whatever we can to be able to take them out, so that way they can't keep firing on our pikemen. The Spartan player doing a really, really nice move here, bringing up a unit of archers to be able to engage with the enemy general's bodyguard. Try to take it out. I mean, if you can take out this general and break the morale of the Carthaginian army, that would be a huge blow to the enemy forces. Because Carthage definitely makes up, I'd say probably about half of the enemy forces. And I didn't even notice this. Sparta actually ended up sending over a couple of those units. The 2 of those initial units that we had seen land on the beachheads, he actually is sending them over to try and kill the Roman general, which is amazing. Wow. But the Roman's going to go and see that and be like, yo, ally, please help us. Okay, we got you. We're sending in the Libyan infantry. So yeah, these Libyan infantry are definitely not going to lose against some however the hell you pronounce that name, against those hoplites. Those hoplites are going to do whatever they can to do as much damage as they can, but they're definitely not going to win that fight. And the general's probably going to be able to get some good flanking charges too, so very good map awareness by our enemies. Moving back over here, Sparta is actually kind of winning on this flank over here. He's successfully pushed back the enemy forces engaging with him on this front line. Those Royal Spartans, wow, Royal Spartans, 240 kills. His general unit, 19 kills, because he hasn't really been in the fight. Spartan hoplites with 252 kills. Woo! Man. 127 kills on these Helid archers, 74 kills, 73 kills, 189. Oh, man, these, like, my allies are doing very, very good. And over here, I kind of push over almost all of my forces over on this side because I just want to keep putting pressure on this flank. I want to make sure that the enemy can't just ignore this flank and put more troops over on the front line. So I did actually send over my oath-sworn general to engage with this half-held 3 gold chevron Praetorian Guard with 228 kills. Every time I'm about to say the kill count, it goes up by 1. I swear. Oh my lord. My General Oathsworn has 1 bronze from the fighting that he's been doing. But these Praetorian Guard have a lot of chevrons. So they're definitely going to be able to do a lot of damage to my Oathsworn General. I am going to go ahead and use one of my abilities, Battle Rhythm, which gives them bonus attack, melee defense, and weapon damage, plus second wind because they were tired from getting over there. So hopefully that'll help them be able to take on these Praetorian Guard. But yeah, as you can see, even though Oathsworn units are very, very powerful, extremely powerful unit, this Praetorian Guard has 3 gold chevrons, which automatically, like, look at those stats. That morale basically is telling you that we're never going to break. That melee attack is extraordinarily dangerous. Like, this is crazy. Like, for Oathsworn, they're one of the most powerful units in the game. And that Praetorian Guard's melee attack is what, like 30, almost 40 more than my Oathsworn? That's insane. So I'm going to go ahead and use a unit of Fierce Swords and kind of go through this gap here and try to get some flanks on this Praetorian Guard because I don't want to lose my general. My archers are out of ammo, so I am going to go ahead and use them to hold back this other depleted unit of Praetorian Guard to make sure that they can't get any flanking charges on my general. But yeah, this Praetorian Guard is going to get some decent kills. And even with these flanks, like, they're doing some heavy damage, and the enemy is going to go ahead and turn over one unit of archers to be able to try and focus down my Oathsworn general. Just this Praetorian Guard will not die. They're flanked, they're taking a lot of losses, but now they've got archer fire support focusing down by basically naked warriors, my Fierce Swords. Yeah, this is a crazy fight. My Oathsworn won this fight with 133 against 87 guys, I think it was. And these guys are still getting flanked and everything else. Like, this is just crazy. Oh, and then the enemy general is going to go and try to get a flank on my Fierce Sword. So I am going to try to do what I can to hopefully maybe take out this general. I did turn my Fierce Swords around, so I'm really hoping if I can take out this general, that I can break the morale of the rest of the Roman army and potentially break them. But the enemy was able to successfully get a unit behind our Silver Shield Swords. So I'm assuming you probably went through this gap right here and just got behind our Silver Shield Swordsmen. But our Silver Shield Swords are doing a really good job of holding the line. And then we do still have a unit of pikemen just kind of holding against these living infantry, doing what we can to be able to try and keep the enemy from engaging with our middle. But yeah, we're running very, very low on troops. All I have is 3 depleted melee troops left, 2 depleted archers, and a pretty much full unit, almost full unit of Gallic Hunters. But I think they're pretty much out of ammo too. Yeah, I think at this point I'm completely out of archer ammo because all I was doing was just trying to focus on the enemy archers for a long time and getting as much flanking fire as possible. But finally, those Praetorian Guard broke with 331 kills. Wow, yeah, my general has 49 guys left and he's getting flanked, he's getting surrounded. Oh my lord, yeah, those Praetorian Guard did some heavy damage against my my Oathsworn. But my Oathsworn are going to keep fighting. They're going to try to stay in the fight for as long as possible. They were able to break that other unit of depleted Praetorian Guard with 356 kills. Oh, Praetorian Guard are just so good, and we're able to successfully break those legionaries. So I'm going to go ahead and turn around and engage with that general bodyguard and that mercenary Cretan archer unit. But at this point, it's just kind of down to the dregs. My Sparta's running really low on troops as well. He has 95 guys of Heroes of Sparta left, 136 pikemen left. He's still got his archers, but that's pretty much it. The Seleucids, my ally, has 1 unit of depleted Silver Shield Swords left, fighting on the front line. A depleted unit of pikemen, and then his general unit of Silver Shields, and all of my units are pretty much dead. My Fierce Swords are at 28 men left. I've got 2 units of depleted archers and my extremely depleted general as well. So right now, the enemy could definitely win that. They still have some mercenary Italian swords. They have their general. They have their Libyan infantry, etc., etc. But it looks like army losses is going to go ahead and hit them, and I think we are going to go ahead and take the win for today. But that was a very good battle, very, very interesting. That sally out was definitely different and very fun. Again, props to my enemies for not getting down with the loss of the Seleucid player. Props to the Seleucid player doing whatever they could, even though they just kept getting hit from all sides by multiple different units over and over, still keeping an an up and at him attitude, and just doing whatever he can to support his allies. Props to Rome and props to the Carthaginians for just providing some fantastic gameplay, and definitely props to my allies for successfully holding against some very, very powerful factions for such a long time. Very, very good battle overall. I did quite enjoy that. But let's go ahead and look at the stats of the individual units. I definitely want to look at Rome because that was insane. Praetorian Guard with 3 gold chevrons, rank 9, which is extremely expensive on a regular unit, but put that on a Praetorian Guard unit, and wow, they put a lot of funds into that Praetorian Guard. But that Praetorian Guard getting 331 kills, and the other Praetorian Guard getting 356 kills. Wow, the Praetorian Guard that they didn't chevron up got more kills than the one that they got chevroned. Which shows you, I mean, as long as you're using the unit properly, a unit doesn't necessarily have to be chevroned all the way to be able to do some very, very good damage. Legionaries, 26 kills, 109, 139. Armored Legionaries, 215, 212, 179. Even the General coming in clutch and getting 83 kills. Just getting some good cycle charges against that sally out against, or that the sally out that Sparta tried to do against his General, as well as some flanking charges against my Fierce Swords and my General unit. Looking over at my kills, I got Fierce Swords with 138. Guerilla Swords, 193, 247, 110. 203, 113. The archer's doing a very, very good job as well. My mighty horse, that's primarily archer kills because I think that was the horse unit that I was using to chase down. No, actually, that was the horse unit that I was using to flank the Seleucid general and those Seleucid pikemen. So that horse definitely got their money's worth. And this mighty horse was the one that I used to break one of their archers and do some decent damage to the enemy Seleucid archers. And my general unit really coming in clutch, getting a lot of kills at that end choke point. Even though they took some heavy losses at the end, they really came in clutch and got some decent amount of kills. Looking over at Carthage and my ally, my Seleucid ally. My Seleucid ally, 119 kills, 119, 192, 115, 193, doing a fantastic job. And Carthage, 242 on the Mercenary Noble Fighters. Again, a very, very powerful unit. Honestly, I personally like the Oathsworn more, but the Mercenary Noble Fighters and Noble Fighters in general are a very incredibly powerful unit. 182, 105, 268. 205, 145, some great kills. See, Mercenary Balearic Slingers, 275 kills. Every single time I see them brought to the battlefield, they do a fantastic job, except for when I use them, because I'm so bad with Slingers. So very, very well done there. My ally Sparta, 287 kills with the Royal Spartans, 200 or 128, 125, 128, 213, 257, 160. I don't know what happened to that Scorpion. I could not find it to save my life. And the Seleucid player, even with that sally out and everything else, still really, doing whatever they can and still coming out with a decent amount of kills. 221, 208, 121, 165. Still some decent kills with those archers. Even with the Royal Peltis general unit that was engaged with outside of the city walls, 192. Not bad at all. And I don't mean to toot my horn or anything, but 2,620 kills in total, highest kill point in the game. I'm just saying, don't mean to brush off my shoulders or anything, but I'm going to brush off my shoulders a little bit here. But yeah, guys, either way, that was a fantastic game. Some very, very interesting gameplay on both sides, and just overall very, very fun battle. And I'm really glad that I was able to share this with you guys. But guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I really do appreciate you guys. If you guys liked it, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It does help me a lot. Lets me know that the YouTube channel isn't complete shite. Plus, I'd love you forever. If you guys also liked this content and you want to see more of it, make sure you guys check out my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Captain4i, CAPN4IS. The link will be down in the description below. As of right now, I do stream every... I had to think about that for a second. Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday at noon Mountain Time. So make sure you guys check that out as well. I stream a variety of games from Rome to Halo Wars to 7 Days to Die, etc., etc. And we get some really cheeky streams going on there, and it's always very, very fun. So make sure you guys check that out. Make sure you check out my editor's YouTube channel at Sir Loco. His channel will be down in the description below. He's a fantastic editor, fantastic YouTuber, and a really good buddy of mine. So I'd highly appreciate if you checked out his content as well. But again, guys, thank you so much for watching the stream. I really do appreciate it. I love you guys. Much love, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye.